And this brings us to a theology of the land, an Indigenous understanding of that. But we understand, I think, land relationship is also a biblical theme. The Genesis creation stories say that Adam was created from Adama, the land, and God breathed life into him. So it's living land. From dust to dust, we go back to the earth. Our connection then to the land, I think, is deep. It's meant to be deep and it's meant to be sacred. Our Lakota word oglala translates as scatter one's own, and a Lakota elder picked up some soil and sprinkled it on herself to show that we are people who come from the land. Indigenous people have long held a relationship with the land, that with all creation, that isn't taught in Western culture. The theology of the land includes our creation stories, our origin stories. They tell us who we are and where we came from, just like the Hebrew creation story. In Genesis 1 tells us that man was created last. So generally in Indigenous stories, man is regarded by creation, the older beings, man is regarded as the younger brother. So creation was and still is our teacher, our first teacher, because when the first beings were where the parts of the world where they came from, there was other humans to tell them how to live there, how to survive there, how to thrive there. So creation was the first teacher. Creation taught, like, observing the creatures, how they mated, how they hunted, how they took care of their young, the plants, which plants were medicinal, which plants were good for eating. So they learned their songs and their how to work and how to travel, learned all of that from creation itself. When Western theology exegetes Genesis in a way that makes man the pinnacle, the masterpiece of creation with mastery or dominion over all other parts of creation, that removes man from relationship, lifts him right out of the community of creation. So it's the hierarchy weakens that ethical relationship with the land, opens it up to exploitation. So you go from tending the garden to exploiting it. And I think we see that all around us today. Walter Brueggemann wrote in his book, Remember You Are Dusk, he wrote about the Lent season. And he said that the Genesis 3 text, from ashes to ashes and dust to dust, he said that's usually taught as a lesson on sin, but it really is a narrative of the garden. The ashes are not about sin and penance, but reflect our formation and our mortality. He wrote that we tend to forget that we are material in composition, actual earth creatures. It's our enlightenment mentality that resists the memory that our source of humanness is from dust that was breathed to life. Without that continual breath, it's just dust. He said it's not pre-human. So when I read that, I thought he's writing about me, Takunyasi. We are all related. We're connected. We're part of creation. We're in that community. To guide us now, he wrote, remembering our story of origin, our creatureliness places us before the God of mercy and righteousness, reminding us of our vocation into service and company of one another, having been entrusted with the garden, bound to the role of stewards, friend and companion of all other creatures who share our fragility. We guard their well-being and health. So one phrase that I still often hear in Christian circles is, this world is not our home, we're just passing through it. That devalues the sacredness of earth and our responsibility to it.